2016, Canada allowed medical assistance in death. Many other countries are much faster in doing that. Switzerland, for example, had it as early as in the 1980s. Assisted suicide. That is when someone has medical assistance in death from either from a nurse practitioner or physician. It takes a long time to get to, and there's a lot of steps you have to go through, but it's useful for a lot of people who have a terminal illness and want to control how they want to die.
It's a very controversial topic. There are two sides. You're either for it or against it. Those who are for it believe that people shouldn't have to suffer and they should be allowed to make the choice of when and where they can die. Those who are against it believe that we shouldn't be helping people kill themselves. Instead, we should help and offer proper medical care and human presence, and we should respond to suffering with true caring and compassion because physicians are to care and not to kill.
A group of protesters are picketing outside the Supreme Court of Appeal in Bloemfontein. That's as arguments are being heard in the right to die case of the late Robin Stransham Ford.
I just wanna die. I don't wanna be alive. I don't wanna be alive. I just wanna die. And let me tell you why.
Doctor-assisted suicide goes against the Hippocratic Oath, which states that no doctor should give or suggest a lethal drug to a patient, which is one of the many reasons why there are so many protests today against the legalization of doctor-assisted suicide.
I feel like I'm out of my mind. It feel like my life ain't mine.
Okay, medically assisted death. Are you for or against it?
Big topic, but you know what I'm gonna have to say straight up? I'd almost have to say yes, but in some cases make sure.
My first answer would be no. I would have to say no. I think life is a very, very valuable thing, and I think that I would just have to do a lot more research before I would change from my position of strong no to maybe no, or maybe sometimes. But at this point, I'd say no.
For it or against it?
I am for it.
I think that until you're someone who has a chronic illness or you have someone who is at the end of life, it's really, unless it's you, it's really hard to choose for someone else what they would want. So I think it's your right to choose whether you want to stay or...
I am for it in the cases where diseases are terminal. I think it should be, I mean, obviously up to doctor's discretion, but also the choice of the patient who is suffering.
Okay, thank you. So, would you ever consider it, say if you had like a terminal illness and you were going downhill, would you ever consider it?
Again, after thinking about it and pondering it for a while, I might come up with that conclusion. It's hard to put yourself into a position whereby you would choose to want to die. Although I've been through it with relatives where, we've had this discussion. And my go-to is still probably no, but it's something that I would have to work through and think about more deeply. Yeah.
I probably wouldn't because I'd want to be around to bug everybody long enough. But in all fairness, if I was a burden to my family and I knew I was, then...
Would you ever consider it if you had a terminal illness? Or...
Probably. It would depend what the illness was and what the prognosis was.
In 2016, Canada created a law regarding the allowance of medical assistance in death. This came the 15th place to do so. Assisted suicide. How does it work? Well, there's a procedure that you must follow in order to be considered and eligible for assisted suicide. First step. The patient must make an initial inquiry for medical assistance in dying to a physician or nurse practitioner. Number 2. Physician or nurse practitioner assesses the patient against eligibility criteria for medical assistance in dying. Number 3. The patient makes written requests for medical assistance in dying before 2 independent witnesses. Number 4. The physician or nurse practitioner must remind the patient of his or her ability to rescind the request at any time. Number 5. An independent second physician or nurse practitioner confirms, in writing, that the patient meets the eligibility criteria for medical assistance in dying. Number 6. Okay. A 10-day period of reflection from data request to provision of medical assistance in dying must happen. Number 7, the physician or nurse practitioner informs the dispensing pharmacist that prescribed substances intended for medical assistance in dying, just to give them enough time to get the certain drugs needed to, help you aid in death. The number 8 step is the provision of medical assistance in dying. 9 is the man to report to the coroner of the death of the patient. There you go. Thank you
for watching.